On today's episode, we'll talk about shooting live TV, tuning out the chatter on the headsets, the Macy's Day Parade, Saturday Night Live, and of course, framing your shot so the talent can see the cue cards. Just a little bit of business before we start. There may be a curse word here or there in this episode, so please listen responsibly. As always, our website, theop.io, is up and chock full of tips, tricks, and gooey operator goodness. Make sure to check out The Breakdown, where the best operators in the biz explain shots they have done, The Musings, where we discuss everything from quick tips to larger concepts of storytelling, the answers, the images, and so much more. I may or I may not take a break or two during this episode, but I promise that none of them will be longer than 22 seconds. Finally, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us, write a review, share us with your parents, and talk us up around the water cooler with your friends. So grab a beverage, sit back, and enjoy the op. Thanks for listening.
Lock it up, nice and quiet, and let's roll.
Rolling. Victor 30 Echo, take 2.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
And camera set.
Background.
And action.
Hello and welcome back to the Op Podcast, the podcast where we talk about operating and the art of visual storytelling. I'm Dave Comides, your host, and a great guest today, Kat Kallergis, who is a Steadicam operator, specializes though in live events and live broadcasts, which is a very different world than many of us work in, and really fascinating. Some of the things she's worked on, but not all: the Tony Awards, New Year's Rockin' Eve, Saturday Night Live episodes, Saturday Night Live homecoming concert, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which I can't even imagine how hard that must be, and I'm interested to hear about. Christmas and Rockefeller Center, which just sounds really cold. The VMAs, a bunch of other awards, a ton of really interesting stuff, and she's a really interesting person. Kat, thanks for jumping on the podcast with me.
Thanks for having me.
So, tell me, live stuff. Is it just completely is it wild? Is it just total adrenaline rush when you're doing something live to the rest of the world?
Yeah, I think so. It's part of, I think my love for it is the adrenaline that's involved. If you mess up, everybody sees it. And if you don't mess up, nobody notices that. So
That's the irony of our jobs, right? If we do it well, nobody actually had any idea we did it. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing live stuff, does it? Are there moments where you realize, like, 2 million people are watching what I'm doing right this second, or do you just?
No, I try to get that out of my head.
There you go.
I don't think about that. I just think about what I'm supposed to be doing, what am I accomplishing, and that's it.
Yeah,
Focus
it's
on
funny
that.
because it's kind of no different than doing, I forgive me if I say regular Steadicam, that's probably not right, but dramatic or scripted or whatever, because if you get inside your head, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was nodding, and I'm realizing you can't see me.
That's all right. We get another take at it. So I guess that's the difference. But jumping ahead, so tell me, what's your story? How'd you get to where you are?
Well, kind of goes way back to high school. I was lucky enough to have a teacher in the high school that set up a video production program.
Yeah.
And I mean, this guy went soup to nuts, did everything he could, and it just evolved while I was there. So I had 3 years of video production while I was in high school, and each year getting more advanced. And I got to tap into all different types of, he set up like a mock newsroom, where you do
Wow.
morning news. He had a whole control room set up. He had Media 100 editing station, which no longer exists, but it's very similar to what's used today. So I got to dabble in a little bit of everything.
That's great. So wait, what do
Yeah.
you like? What year are we talking about here? And what are you shooting with? Are you shooting with like little handy cams or?
I don't even remember what we shot with, but they were like handy cams at the time. But I actually went and visited him last year because he was retiring, and he he took over 2 classrooms. He When they were redoing the auditorium, he said, "I want to set this up for cameras because you want me to shoot the dramatic shows that are on stage." So he set up everything. He was pretty ahead of his time as far as high school programs go, and he retired, and I think they're having a really hard time filling his shoes.
Oh, I'll bet. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're someone who's passionate about it, but that's
Oh, super
fantastic.
passionate.
So back in the day, I mean, what were you doing, like short films, or what were you guys making in the class?
In that class, a little bit of everything. It's we just rotate and do different projects. Sometimes it was just making a. We would do the newsroom rotation, and we would cycle through. Some people would be talent, some people would be working the switcher, someone else would be working the camera, and we would rotate through those roles. And then we would have, I think early on, I remember making a. We would take a movie and make a preview for it. You know, like we're trying to sell the movie, so he would have us edit a new preview. Uh, yeah, yeah, it was, and we would, we took a movie like Ghostbusters and made a new preview for it. So it was pretty neat in that respect. And I think I was in high school thinking I was going to become a doctor because I don't know what I was thinking. And I went to a local community college after that and realized how much I missed working on that side of the world, and sort of not having it and missing it made me realize how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then I started pursuing more of a video production degree. So
Okay.
I went to community college for 2 years where I was in the video production program there, Nassau Community College.
Uh-huh.
And they had a TV production room, and they also worked with film. So I got to work with 8 millimeter film
Oh, cool.
and edit it, splicing it. And then from there, I applied to various film schools, ended up at NYU Film, and did everything there, same type of stuff,
Yeah.
just more advanced.
And were you into, I mean, were you sort of veering into camera operating at that point, or were you just sort of like, I want to learn everything and I don't know, or what?
I didn't know what I wanted. I thought I wanted to direct because I was crazy. Uh,
Everybody goes that way,
but
I think.
yeah, and then at NYU is where I was introduced to the Steadicam through Aaron Medic.
Oh, I know his name. He's an
Yeah,
operator in New
he's
York. Is that right?
yeah, he's in New York.
Okay.
I think he DPs now.
Okay.
I think he still does some Steadicam too, but
Yeah.
he had just bought a rig. He took the workshop in Maine, had just bought a rig, was looking to make a reel,
Okay.
and there had this literal binder with 3-hole binder with and everybody that wanted to work on student films, like alumni or whoever, would put their information in that binder. I found his information because I needed a DP for my short film,
Yeah.
and he would shoot my film for free as long as he got to use Steadicam.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait, but was he? Oh, so he was no, he wasn't a student. He was like a local person saying, "I'm willing to work on student films."
He was an alum that
Oh,
was
he's an
willing to
alum.
work.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so the
so
binder was like people out in quote unquote the real world who you could go, "Hey, can you help me with my project or whatever?"
yeah, there was a special room that you
I
could
got you.
go into this binder and just sift through it and see, who was available and willing. And uh, I found Aaron,
That's great.
and and I'll tell you, I didn't know what a Steadicam was.
That was my next question. Okay.
They
So
didn't
what
they didn't
year?
really talk about that at NYU.
What year?
Um,
Like what year is this?
what year? That was, I'm trying to think, 2004.
Okay. So Steadicam is like an established thing out there. It's not like it was
Oh,
that early. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just oblivious. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know.
No, no, you're a student. I mean,
Um,
yeah.
and
I just found out, by the way, that when I was at NYU, David Emmerichs lived on my hall. We never met each other, and he was learning how to do Steadicam and used to run up and down the hall with it, and I had no idea. So
that's
you
hilarious.
just have no idea like what's happening in other places.
Just to find those connections later in life is
It's
pretty
ridiculous.
amazing.
Yeah, but that's so he showed up with a Steadicam. What were you shooting, like on an SR or something like that? What were you shooting with?
I don't remember, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I That mom brain stuff is real because my memory is shot.
I hear you. I hear
But
you. Yeah, yeah.
but he shot my student film, and that was where my introduction to Steadicam, and I fell in love with it, what it could do, how versatile it was,
That's
and
cool.
he let me try it on.
Okay.
and I'm much smaller than him. So I put on somebody's sweatshirt and I'm running around my living room because we use my house for my student film in
Of
addition to
course.
some other stuff.
Perfect.
But I'm like running around the house. I'm like, this is awesome.
Really?
This is great. Yeah. I just like, it felt so good.
Wow.
And then I didn't pursue it for another 3 years.
But didn't pursue it because you didn't know how, or you thought like, there's no way I can do this, or what was the reasoning? I mean, because it sounds like you leaned into it and thought it was great. What was the reason for not going that direction?
I guess because of my small stature.
Okay, gotcha.
Just being a woman, it's just he was a big, strong dude, and I just didn't think it
That's
was
not me.
something I could do.
Yep, yep. Gotcha.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
So little did I know
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
that we do exist.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, I mean, not it doesn't sound like you looked into it tremendously back, but it was also like they weren't making vests necessarily that were better for women back then. It was, it was not. It was not. There wasn't as much then as there is now to let women know, like you could totally do this, and you're probably even better than a lot of men at it, for a lot of reasons. So
Yeah,
um,
I think having the lower center of gravity certainly helps.
yeah, there's no question
The
about it.
hips,
The hips.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't think I could do it, and then for a while I was working in between that, the introduction to it, and then finally doing it. In the
Yeah.
interim, I graduated college, wasn't finding work, didn't know anybody. My internship while I was there went nowhere. I think some internships are just kind of brutal, where they are just using you
Yeah. Yeah.
and not looking to hire you. They just want some help in the meantime. It's just kind of. So
Yeah.
I fell into that type of internship, and it I ended up working at my parents' diner for a few years,
Okay.
and a friend of mine that I met at NYU. We opened up our own wedding video business.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we did that for a few years, and then I called Aaron and I said, Aaron, I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I just wasn't happy doing what I was doing. I felt like that money that was spent at NYU was a complete waste.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Aaron, and he told me, yeah, you should really, if you're really into it, he goes, but the market's getting saturated with operators if you still want to do it. I feel like it's an ongoing thing, right? Every
Yeah.
year we're
Maybe
saying
now
that.
now even more so, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So he told me to take the workshop in Pennsylvania because he thought it would be a better networking experience.
Okay.
Because in Maine, he thought maybe it wouldn't be the same network. He didn't think he had the same network.
Yeah.
So he
Okay.
said, take the one in Pennsylvania.
This is like
This is the
one
SOA workshop.
the SOA. Okay, the SOA, Steadicam Operator Associations, which they actually, well, I guess I was going to say they still have, but I think they stopped for a while, but they have them now anyway. And I'll actually throw a link on the
Yeah, I think
website for it.
they're taking off. They're taking off in October. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah. Yeah.
not enough people signing up. So yeah, I did I did that. I took the workshop. Well, first I took a flyer workshop with Peter Abraham for 2 days
Oh, cool.
in
Peter
at Tiffin
Abraham. Yeah.
Steadicam in Hauppauge.
And
I took that
Hopog
workshop.
that's in New York, I'm
Hauppauge, New
assuming.
York. Yeah, yeah. They have a factory there.
Oh, no way. Okay. So wait, was that
Yeah.
like one of Peter's personal, like I can just teach you on the side, or was that like was it Cinema Products back then, or was it Tiffin? I don't even know.
No, no, no. It was Tiffin, and
Okay.
he was at the time working for Tiffin, and he
Oh,
was
okay.
running flyer workshops. So I figured, let me take the small rig, and if I can handle the small rig, then I'll save up my money and take the big rig workshop at the SOA in
Yep.
Pennsylvania.
Well, Peter was one of my instructors, and he's just like he has this, I don't know, he has this infectious joy about teaching that's just fantastic,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
so
Super
knowledgeable.
supportive.
Yeah, that's great. So,
Yeah.
so what? It was just like you and a couple other people, or was it a lot, like a big class, or
I want to say it was like 10 people.
okay?
And I met at that workshop. John Beatty came on the second day.
Uh huh.
He had just taken his SOA workshop in Pennsylvania 6 months before. And I was talking to him and saying that I, was thinking about doing it. He's like, absolutely, you should do it.
That's great.
And so, I was already building my network,
Yeah, yeah,
which was wasn't in the plan. I didn't think taking these workshops would do that.
Do you remember in that workshop, granted the flyer is later, so maybe it's not quite as much, but was it overwhelming? Was it, I don't know how to like control this at all, or did it sort of click and you were like, I'm not doing this well, but I get it. Like what was the process like of sort of, getting used to that, if you will, the physics of everything?
Well, it certainly wasn't heavy, so I could handle the weight,
Yeah.
but the being able to dance with it, I wasn't quite there yet.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like that takes forever. Even at the big rig workshop, I didn't leave that workshop being very confident, saying, "Oh, I'm great, I'm good, I'm gonna," I still needed work. I think the workshops are geared to show you how to do it right, and
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, I remember at the end of my Calamigos workshop, they were like, so go out and operate. And I remember thinking, like, these people are crazy. Like, I get everything they taught me, but I don't know how to
yeah,
do this by any means. Like, I wouldn't hire me. So yeah, no, I get it. So what was the 1 week workshop like? Was that just, I mean, did it click? Even though, I mean, that this is what you wanted to do?
yeah, I
Uh-oh.
definitely knew I wanted to do it. I
Okay.
got the bug big time
Yeah,
at that workshop.
that's great. And
So no,
so
but I still wasn't good at it.
So what I mean, after the workshop, what was the next? Did you go out and just buy a rig, or how'd you get into actually working?
um, I kind of jumped the gun and bought the first rig I could get my hands on.
Okay, what'd you get?
Probably shouldn't have. It was sort of a Franken rig that I had to further modify and fix even after I got it.
Yeah,
But it's all right. We make the choices we make and we move on, right? We make the best of it. But that rig served me well for about 10 years. So it just needed work.
and so did you go sort of the student film route, or how did you start getting out there and getting work?
I went to NYU, put up some flyers, said,
Yep.
"Hey, I'm willing to work for nothing." And that's the first couple of things were student films, web series.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And what's funny is the first web series I worked on, there was a famous act, he was in Top Gun, the young guy in Top Gun. And it was funny, the casting director, she was a casting director that created a web series so she could promote her actors.
Wow, that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, it was really smart, actually. Yeah.
That's cool. So did you do a number of those, or did you just come and go, or?
I think I did like two or three of them. And then I asked for money because they kept asking me back. So I was like, okay, I guess you like me, so pay me now. And I guess I wasn't good enough to get paid. So yeah, but initially I feel like early on it's you work for nothing, then you're like, I'll work for just I mean I raised it to like 500, then I raised it to 1,000, and then when people start saying yes too quickly is when you realize you have to start raising your rate.
That's
So
that's actually really good advice, because I think newer people, yeah, newer people are always wondering, like, they don't want to undercut, but they don't feel like they're worth it. And there's that thing of like, if you're working for nothing, it's like, yeah, I suck, but you're getting this for nothing, so I don't feel bad. But then there's that thing of, you start asking for some money and you're like, oh God, now I kind of owe you something, right? Like, I have to come through.
yeah, I guess there is a bit more pressure.
We moved recently, so I'm going through stuff, and I found this old notebook that had all the like music videos that I worked on. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're great. And actually, I've now been Googling them, trying to find them, and they're just horrible. And the funny thing is, it's like, I literally have on there like $75 for me, $50 for the AC, and $300 to rent the video tap for the film camera.
Wow.
So yeah, you do what you do, and that's how you get your that's how you you make your mistakes, right? So how
Yeah.
long did it take after you got your rig and started doing, student films and whatever? How long did it take to the point where you sort of felt like, oh, I can go on a set and actually sort of give them what they want?
Oh, I never felt totally confident.
Are you still working on
Oh
it?
yeah. Even now I'm like, am I good
Yeah,
enough?
yeah. Well, we all are.
It's
Imposter syndrome is real. Um,
and I think yeah, the imposter syndrome is, oh my goodness.
yeah. Well,
It
actually,
is.
we can jump ahead to it. Talk to me about that because, like, uh, we all have it, but I got to think that when you're doing live stuff, that can be really damaging because, like you said, earlier, everybody's watching you instantaneously, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think all that crap, all that fuzz, I just sort of let it go away in
Yeah.
the moment.
But are there, I mean, are there mental tricks that you do to do that, or do you just, I mean, is it not that
I think it's hard to do Steadicam well if you're not connected in the moment,
connect? What do you mean by connected?
connected to uh, the talent,
Okay.
who it is that you're supposed to be
Yeah.
carrying or shooting or whatever the shot is. Connected to the music, connected to the director.
Uh huh. Gotcha.
I think it's hard to do a good job if you're not connected.
Yeah. So do you just try to, you make those connections and try to sort of disappear into that, and hopefully that pushes the other stuff away. Like there's a
I think keeping the connections is hard enough that the other stuff just goes away automatically.
yeah. It's like you don't have time for the other stuff.
I ain't got time for that.
I got you. No, no. By the way, that's I I think I totally agree with you. It's like, I mean, whatever it is, you sort of have to fill. You have to fill the you have to fill the well with something, or else something else is going to come in and become a problem.
Yes.
So how did you eventually get into the live world? Because it seems like, looking at your IMDb, that's the majority of what you do. Is that right?
Well, I got into it pretty quickly,
Yeah.
actually. I took my workshop in '08, bought my rig. So I bought my rig the following January.
Yeah.
So I took the workshop October, bought it in January or something like that, maybe sooner. And then I think in '09, I was recommended for the Gail King show, which was on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Gail King at that time had a Sirius XM radio show,
Okay.
and Oprah Winfrey bought a new network and she needed content. So she said, "Oh, Gail, you can still have your radio show, but you're going to do it on TV."
Okay.
And uh, NEP was the company.
All right.
They decided they needed a Steadicam because the studio space was too small for a jib.
Okay.
So they bought a Zephyr and thought that they could just train anybody to use it.
And for anybody
And
who doesn't know, who's listening, a Zephyr is sort of like a small video size Steadicam, right? But it's still an arm
this
and
is
a
like
vest.
the Arrow, right?
Yeah,
Like
but it's still an arm and a vest and a gimbal. It's conceptually the same kind of thing.
still good enough to carry a cabled
Yeah.
broadcast camera.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
so strong enough for that.
Yeah.
So he sold them the rig. They tried to train somebody. He had like a 1 day, training with this guy, and then they realized, oh wait, I guess we really should hire somebody that knows how to do this.
Oh my God, it's amazing what people think. Um,
And then they still kept that cameraman. He's a great guy. He was gung ho to give it a go.
yeah,
He
but a
didn't sell himself
day.
as something he wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and and then I got interviewed.
Hmm.
Uh, they interviewed me and maybe two other people, and
Okay.
I guess they liked me, and I got the job. So it was a permalance position.
But you didn't really have like a reel at this point, or I mean, it wasn't you. It sounds like you weren't hired based on your experience level at this point. It was more sort of, I kind of know what I'm doing and I'm getting there. Or
They
did they
knew I
look?
was new to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
When they interviewed me, I did not pretend I was
Yeah.
a veteran.
Yeah.
I said, I've been doing this for 6 months, but my experience fit the pay they were willing to
Of
to
course.
give.
That's, well, there you go. And so basically, so is she kind of I mean, is she walking around the studio, or is she sitting down?
Not
Like
at
what?
all. I was a dolly.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was, imagine that.
With the cable
Um,
on you, right? It sounds like.
with a cable, and
Okay.
getting the jumper cable was a bit of a battle.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it was. I mean, talk about trial by fire.
Yeah. Right.
It was 5 days a week,
Oh my
so
God.
permalance position, 2 hours a day
Wait,
that I was in the
what did you
rig.
say? Permalance position? What's that?
It's like freelance, but you're permanent.
Oh, permalance. I see what you're saying. I thought that was like a talk show thing.
No,
I
no.
see what you're
So
saying.
it
Yeah.
was it was two chairs, Gail in one and her guest in another.
And and
Uh,
and you're just moving slowly on a two shot or a single or whatever the whole time.
two shot. I was the safety. I was the main shot. Yeah, and
And just moving like left to right and right to left the whole time?
yes,
And
between cameras, crossing cameras because it was a small space.
for how long? How long's the show or interview or whatever?
It was live on TV for 1 hour, but we would
Whoa.
shoot it for two because the first hour was radio. So the radio was 2 hours, but
Oh,
halfway through it kicked in. It was television,
oh, I see. That's
but we shot for 2 hours.
so this was really like this was your baptism by fire into being a Steadicam operator essentially. Um, uh, I can only
Yeah,
imagine. I can
yeah.
only. I mean, uh, like, what was day one like? Was it just? I mean, did you think, how am I going to do this? Because that's a lot.
Uh, Peter came to my parents' diner before I started the show,
I love this. Yeah.
and he talked to me about how to run the cable,
Yeah.
how to build the rig because he thought she would be standing because she's tall.
Okay.
How just going over all the live stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
not necessarily how to operate, because he knew I knew how to do that sort of, but talking me through what it's like to do live TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and having the director in your head, that was completely new to me.
Oh,
Who
sure. Yeah.
and everybody directs differently, right? I learned that later, but it's how they call shots, and then the director maybe also being new to Steadicam or directing Steadicam, and how to call the shot so that I'm moving before they take me. And
And do me a favor for people who don't know live. When you say call the shots, what do you mean?
your camera number, ready, camera two, and take, ready, take. Sometimes ready, camera four, take two. Yeah, sometimes they, you know, it's they see something, they want to take something else. So it's just knowing your camera number and knowing the other camera numbers so that when you're crossing in front of them, you're not messing up their shot when they're taken live on the air.
And this was what, three cameras in the studio there?
Uh,
No.
I would be crossing three
Yeah,
cameras, so four.
four cameras. So,
I was camera four.
and that's just four cameras, but there are other things you work on where they're, 20, 30 cameras, right?
Yes.
So the cacophony of you must very quickly learn how to push other things that don't apply to you out and just soak in the information that you need.
Yes. You have to. There's a lot of chatter on headset. Some things apply to you, some things don't.
That's incredible.
Some things indirectly do apply to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when they're bringing up the mics for your talent, you're likely going to be on air soon. So there's certain little things that you
Oh,
listen
interesting.
to
Okay. All right.
that sort of give you a little bit of a heads up. Sometimes I'm even like on this show that I work on regularly. It's called On Patrol Live. It's on the weekends. It's like a live cop show. I listen to the bleed through of the producer in the background bleeding through the director's headset. And that gives me sometimes enough of a heads up.
And the producer is not meaning the producer is talking about. I don't know. What do you mean by the bleed through? Like, what is the producer
I'm
talking about?
The producer is talking to the director about what it is that they want,
Okay.
and the director is directing the show, right? So
Oh my God.
so I can hear the producer through the director's headset
Oh, I see what you're saying.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
background.
Yeah. Oh, so so you're sort of clocking that to go, I know what's coming down the pike.
Yeah, because he gets very excited, the producer. So he'll be like, "Oh, we're coming to the studio," and I'm like, "Oh," and I stand up before the director even calls it. So
And
so
I've seen this before, but for people who don't know this is you're in the studio, but there's like a live cop chase going on, and these are sort of like newscasters almost talking about what's going on out in the real world. Is that what's happening?
yeah, think like Cops and Sportsnet had a baby. So yeah, we have three hosts in the studio. I'm in the studio, thank goodness. But there are 7 to 8 camera crews out in 7 to 8 different cities across the country.
Wild. And this is all
Um,
live as you're
and
shooting.
it's all live,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
you're live, like it's not pre-recorded stuff. It's
yeah,
happening.
we're live. Yeah.
Wow.
The only thing that's pre-recorded is if they play a package from, previously in the week.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it's
sure.
if it's like a slow night, oh, let's look at what happened during the
Oh,
week,
okay.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's if it's a busy night, then we're not in the studio very much. So
Meaning they
if it's a
don't cut,
busy,
meaning that you're standing by, but they don't cut to you.
not so much,
I
not so
gotcha.
much, because
Yeah,
it's so busy out in the field. That's far more exciting.
yeah.
So
Wow. That's
yeah,
wild.
so I learned it's a 3 hour show Fridays and 3 hour shows on Saturday. So it's 6 hours of content every weekend,
Wow.
and I learned how to you know do work the show without killing myself. Let's just
Well,
say
okay,
that.
so that was my next question is, you're doing these, well, I mean, on the Gail King thing, you're doing basically an hour in the rig without stopping, right? So,
No, no, it would. Thankfully, there's commercials, right? So,
oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
uh,
Okay,
so
good.
usually on an hour-long show,
Yeah.
I forget, it's 45 minutes of content,
Sure.
and then 15 minutes, and then it's different for 30-minute show, whatever.
Yeah.
But generally, the first segment is on the show. They're trying to hook you, they're trying to keep you watching. So the
Okay.
first segment is the longest segment. It's about, say, 20 minutes.
But that's still significant. I mean, to be in a rig, and also I'm assuming from the little that I've seen from stuff you've shown me on the Gail King thing, you're moving very, very slowly, which is in a weird way almost takes more energy, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, it's I mean, I always say, and I think you'll agree, one of the hardest things you can do with the Steadicam is slow, like dolly move around static subjects.
yeah. There's nowhere to hide, and it's like complete muscle control. So yeah. How do you make sure that you can maintain that?
I mean, when you're forced to do something every day for 2 hours, 5 days a week for almost a year,
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get good at something, then what's going on, right?
Yeah. No,
So,
okay, that's fair.
you're forced.
Yeah.
If you don't improve, then that you're
So
not going to last.
so
So
the question that I have physically is that enough to keep you in shape isn't the right word, but able to continue to do that, or do you have to outside of work continue to, work out, keep yourself fit?
I'm not me personally. I'm not much of a gym goer.
Yeah.
I get bored with that crap.
So the work is enough basically?
No, I do other stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've been, 2 years before Steadicam, I started Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and I'm still doing it.
No
And I
way.
think,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I started Jiu Jitsu in '06, and I think um, it forced me to understand my body,
Uh-huh.
understand my base, my core, and I think it actually helped me in many ways. Just that form of martial art. I think martial arts are good for people in general, whichever one you take, especially as a woman in a man's world, because it gives you a different kind of confidence, and and then physically, I think it helped me with Steadicam.
Well, I mean, not knowing anything about it, but just from the name of it, I would think that the flexibility, if nothing else, I mean, it must keep you flexible, which of course helps in the long run, if nothing else.
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned being a woman in a man's world. So when you go into these, when you went into that then, and when you go into things now, do people look at you and sort of, do you think that they sort of look at you and go, how's she going to pull this off?
Not so much anymore.
When do you think that changed?
If I travel somewhere where they don't know me,
Okay.
maybe. But now I've been in New York long enough that
You
I feel like I'm kind of known.
you're a known entity.
So
I got you. I got you.
yeah,
But when you do travel there, I mean, is that a palpable thing that you can sort of feel people going, who is this, and is she going to be able to pick that thing up and run around with it for an hour?
yeah. I actually kind of enjoy it.
Proving them wrong.
Yes,
Nice. I like it. Good.
yes. I don't say anything.
Yeah. Do your thing.
I just kind of give them a smile, and I
Mhm.
do what I do.
Yep.
And I'd rather be underestimated than overestimated.
I will agree with that 100% because one of them you can always overcome, hopefully, and the other one you're just gonna fail. Being a woman who's an operator, and there aren't as many women as men. Thankfully, there are more now. I mean, do you feel like an extra sense of I have to do a really good job because people are I don't want to misrepresent?
Yes.
Like, do you feel a weight?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like women in general or any minority um, doing a job that is unexpected of them have a little bit more weight because if and in this one it's a woman, right? You're smaller in stature, all this the way I look, like I'm not a very big woman either,
Yeah.
and so I kind of I get worried sometimes that if a woman is on a show and she's a steady cam operator, say, and she doesn't do a good job, then it makes some sort of in the minds of others and how stereotypes work
Hmm.
that now, oh well, she's a woman and that's why she didn't do well
Yeah. Oh,
at this job.
we were right. Women can't do this job. Yeah.
Yeah. So not just for myself,
Yeah.
but for other women, I always want them to do really, really well
Hmm.
because of stereotypes and avoiding them.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
because that's how the world works, unfortunately. That's how people's brains
Hmm.
work. And it shouldn't be the case, but that's just how it is.
Do you think that that's in a weird way that that's helped your career because you've tried to I don't I was going to say overachieve, that's not the right word, but because you're even more aware of failure than the average than say I was when I was coming up?
I think it pushed me to wear the rig for longer than I should have early
Oh,
on.
interesting. Yeah, cuz you don't want people to think like, "Oh, she can't do it." Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So early on, before I found my voice and was confident enough to speak up for myself, um, I would probably put the rig on for longer than I should have, and I would just push through it, and it didn't have any long lasting effects. But just looking back, um, yeah, I wish I did that differently. I wish I would have found my
Yeah, and
voice.
even if it's not long lasting, it probably had an effect on that day. Like maybe your shots at the end of the day weren't as solid as maybe they would
True.
have been otherwise, or whatever it is. But I can, yeah, I can understand how if you think that everybody's looking at you going, she's not going to make it through this, you're just going to push through it that much more. Going back to the Gail King thing because this fascinates me, like having to do dolly like moves. For anybody who's starting out, is there any advice you can give on how to exercise that kind of control? Because that's just, I don't
Well,
know,
smaller steps for sure.
smaller steps. Okay.
Uh, Smaller steps, tight, um, keeping the rig close to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just having a good home base. I always call it missionary home base. It's like where you're most comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Just
it's yeah, I'd say just smaller steps, and then if it's an arcing motion, then you have to kind of. It's hard for me to explain without actually physically
no,
doing it and
I get
showing
it.
you.
It's kind of an unfair question. I get it. So you mentioned before the jumper cable. I'm assuming you mean like a flexible cable that goes between the rig and the heavy cable that's going to the control room.
Yeah, because you don't want that big cable coming off the
Yeah.
camera. Then it forever pans the camera to whatever side it's hanging off of.
Sure. And not knowing a lot about these things, I've done a little bit, but so once you have that jumper cable on, is it still exerting some force or is it pretty nominal? I mean, are you still having to overcome that?
It depends on how you dress the cable.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the closer to the post, if it's
Hmm.
coming down closer to the post, then there's going to be less of an effect on the camera. I generally have it. I'll have it hang down the post. Sometimes I'll even put it in my fingers. That's on the center post
Oh, interesting.
on the
Uh-huh.
gimbal,
Yep.
and then I'll have the rest of it come down. It goes over my across my chest over my right shoulder, and then because I'm regular when I operate, and then it attaches to a carabiner there. That's where the cable,
The cable comes in.
the flexible cable then connects to the house cable, which is
Yeah.
a thick cable.
Yeah.
And then from there, I have another point, and this is all stuff Peter told me at that diner so many
Well,
years ago.
that was my next question was,
Um,
is this all like sort of he went through the checklist and
yeah, I mean, he always said have 2 points of contact, so that way, if it does get tugged, it won't affect your camera.
you've got like some safeties before it actually gets to the shot.
Yeah, and it tugs your body; it doesn't tug the rig.
Yep. Yep. That makes sense. So,
So
so
yeah.
since you mentioned that, one thing I want to ask you about, which people who don't do live, I don't think have this. When I'm doing a dramatic shot, I'll call it a dramatic shot, a scripted shot, I guess is the word. I've usually got a dolly grip on my back, but there's no cable involved. So you call them a utility. So are they called utilities?
They like to be called steady assist.
Steady assist. Okay.
Yeah, but steady utility. It's just somebody that a utility that works with a steady cam.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a more complicated shot, there's where you're cabled, of course. I mean, there's a whole art form to that where they're
Oh yeah,
what they do. Can you just tell me about that? Because I mean, I would imagine you have to have an incredible amount of trust and they need to know what you need and all that stuff.
yeah. I mean, that's why usually a steady cam operator has kind of their go-to people that they have with them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you usually like bringing your own person, hopefully.
Yes,
Gotcha.
because like you said, there's a lot of trust involved, and if
Yeah.
I'm not trusting the person that has my back, then I'm not focusing on my job.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean,
So
they're not
yeah,
only keeping you physically safe, but they're also like coiling the cables so that you don't get snagged and all that stuff, right?
I do not envy the position at all.
It's kind of I've seen it a couple times and I'm amazed by it. I mean, the sort of the geometry of it all is incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not easy. I can over under cable, but I can't over under cable like that, and
Yeah.
I can't. It's being able to focus on your operator while also doing this other thing, and
Yeah.
then there's people involved.
Sure.
Sometimes you have an audience, and you're walking through a path, and people
Mhm.
could step on the cable or it could get stuck on something, and I could never do what they do.
Yeah. Now, when you go into, you get flown somewhere and you don't have your person with you, um, I mean, how do you determine whether this person? Do you have to keep an
If
eye on
I
them?
if I have a job where I'm flown somewhere, I do ask for my person to come with me.
And does that do they understand how important that is?
Yes,
Oh, okay, that's great. I didn't
generally
know.
they do. But
Okay.
if production does give you a hard time,
Yeah.
you reach out to wherever it is that you're traveling, because we have
Yeah.
these wonderful things like Facebook groups,
Uh-huh.
and we used to have the Steadicam forum, and
Yep.
you reach out to operators that are local there,
Gotcha.
and you say, "Hey, I'm traveling there for a job.
Yeah.
Are there any good steady assists that you recommend?"
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it's the same thing with us with camera assistants, but it just seems like that's even more of a specific need. Yeah, I've watched that dance and it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, and I'm a little spoiled too, because I'd rather have my assist with me, taking the same flight as me so they can help me with my gear.
Sure. Why not, right?
so
Yeah, yeah.
so
Oh,
like, hey, I'd rather, that's the hardest part, getting it at the airport, taking it off the belts, and then when it does arrive at your location, is it at the oversized? Did they put it with the regular stuff? You're like divide and conquer,
it is funny. There's
so
it's something that I don't think has ever been discussed on this show before. But like when I travel with cases and I'm by myself and grabbing all this stuff, and like maybe whoever's picking me up is out by the curb or something like that. There is that thing where you look at the cart and you start to do that geometry of looking, okay, how high can I stack this, and how can I get it
right,
on here, and whatever. It is kind of amazing what
it's the
happens.
worst part.
Yeah. So have you ever had been on a live show like a bigger thing now that you're into your career where you've just had a massive failure on live TV?
A massive failure.
Well, or something that it
uh,
just a showstopper. Not that it did, but maybe they had to cut away or anything like that. Do things like that happen, or are you guys so dialed in? Because I would imagine live, just things
oh
just
well,
happen.
recently, because I'm trying to think of a live moment, because I have fallen, but it was live to tape, meaning it's pre-recorded,
Okay, gotcha.
but shot as though it's live.
What were you doing when you fell?
I was working on the Tamron Hall show,
Uh-huh.
and she does this open where she comes out these big double doors, and then she goes up these stairs in the center into the audience, and then I lead her through, and then I'm supposed to carry her up opposing stairs.
Okay.
Just sort of like seeing the audience through, and she's walking up in the
Yeah,
distance, and
yeah,
then we meet her in the middle at the top. There's like a thing in the middle.
yeah.
But I took one step a little too far to my right, and stepped up on the first step that would lead to her center stage, like where she would do
Okay.
her
Yeah.
main show.
Not realizing
Uh,
you were going to hit that step, I'm assuming.
no, not
Yeah,
really.
understood.
So my left foot was down. My right foot took a step, but it ended up on the step,
Uh-huh.
which I wasn't anticipating. And when you're not anticipating something like that, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm going down.
Oh,
And
wow.
I didn't have my regular assist with me that day.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody was filling in,
Yep.
and he's actually a great person. He's a good assist. It was a new show for him, and the cable run was very difficult. So I'm not
Yeah.
even going to hold it against him.
Yeah.
But he was looking at the cable and not at me.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh shit. And it was like slow motion, when you're falling and it's all slow
Oh, so
motion.
you were like completely aware this is happening.
Oh yeah. I'm like, I'm going to fall.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I stiff armed the rig as far away from my body as possible because I was falling backwards.
So it doesn't hit you in the face or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I actually tell people this at the workshop. I'm like, if you're falling backwards, stiff arm the rig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a bent arm,
Uh-huh.
you can't hold that weight with a bent arm. But with a
Meaning
stiff arm, you can.
Meaning your arm.
Yes, my
so-
physical arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, my own arms, not the
So-
Steadicam arm.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah.
why I asked. So basically, you're saying lock your elbow so your forearm and your
Yeah.
upper arm are straight. Yeah, because that'll just push all the weight there, and then hopefully, my thing, the 2 times I've gone down, or hopefully as you're going down, you can take it to the side or something like that. But you're right, because the force will just slam it into your body, right?
Yeah, if your arms are bent, it will.
Yeah. But
Uh,
it's funny, you do bring up a really interesting point, which is, look, it's handheld, it's anything we do where we're moving with the rig. There is that point where you have to mentally go, I'm not going to fight this anymore. This is happening, and I'm going to protect myself, right? Which is weird, because it happens in a split second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but in your mind, it's slow. It is slow motion in your mind.
It is, right?
Anytime I fall, and it's slow motion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stiff arm the rig. I tucked my chin to my chest so I wouldn't hit my head backwards.
Amazing.
Yeah, you know how there's the two rigid rods in the back of the exovest.
Yeah, that vest
So-
has sort of like a metal exoskeleton almost.
And
Yeah.
I didn't get hurt at all.
Because
Not my back.
because that sort of took the fall, or took the
Yeah.
impact. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny because, like, as you state all this, I can imagine that everyone around you is probably thinking, "Oh my God, this is horrible," whatever. And inside, it sounds like you were basically going, "Nope, I totally got this. This isn't going to be fun, but I'm doing all the right things." And then you probably just get up, make sure everything's okay, and move on.
Yeah, well, thankfully it wasn't live.
Yeah. There you go.
So
Yeah.
we got up and we did it again.
Yeah.
But I have, because it's a multi-camera show,
Yeah.
we had like 3 or 4 angles of me falling.
Oh, jeez.
So I show that at the workshops when I do the
I have seen
broadcast
this, actually.
lecture.
That's right. You
Yeah.
know what? I have seen this. I have seen this at one of the workshops before. Now,
Oh, okay.
yeah, maybe
Yeah,
you'll give
so-
it to me, and I'll put it on the website for so people can see it. If
Oh
you're okay
God.
with that. It's up to you whether you want to put it on there or not.
not
But I
not
mean-
my not
Yeah.
my shining moment.
Well,
but yeah.
here's the thing, and you know this. It's like we always say, like, if you haven't fallen with the Steadicam, it just means you haven't been doing Steadicam long enough. It happens to everybody eventually.
Yeah, that was
I-
my first one,
Yeah.
was
Well,
my
and
first
look,
one.
you.
and hopefully the only one.
Yeah, well, and like you said, you were. I think the key, the people who end up getting hurt, or it's worse than it should be, are the people who are trying to fight it right to the very moment that they hit the ground, because it's like once you've sort of accepted it, you can go, okay, I'm going to minimize what's going to happen, and hopefully you get out of it. But it is interesting. So what about though live, where something completely unexpected? Because I mean, you have to have situations where you were live and just something completely unexpected happens. I mean, that's
Well,
what a lot of this stuff is.
well, yeah, but I'll tell you my major mess up that, like, like I lose sleep over
Yeah.
stuff like this. In the middle of the night, your brain starts to go.
Sure.
But I was doing a shot for the Kennedy Center Honors, and I'm in the pit, meaning, the pit right in front of the stage.
Oh, like where the
And
orchestra is.
yeah,
Yeah.
but not really where the orchestra is. It's sort of in front of the audience. So you have a row of audience,
Oh,
a
okay.
lane, and then the stage.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
And usually they never give you enough room in that lane because they don't account for the fact that people are going to be sitting with their knees and their feet out.
Okay.
And so now what used to be a lot of room during rehearsals is now not quite enough room during, the live performance, or even during dress rehearsal, right? You start to figure this out, but then you just push through because you don't have time, and you can't move seats. So,
Jeez.
and you can't move a stage, so you're stuck with it. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yep.
And I'm doing this shot of someone performing with a saxophone, and during rehearsals, it was beautiful. And I'm getting this shot, I'm finishing it, and it's like ending beautifully. And then my monitor hit the speaker
Ugh.
on the stage,
Yeah.
and the rig just kind of went boing, to the side, and I quickly recovered, but that got cut out. They had to cut my shot out because I hit this fucking speaker. Oh, sorry,
That's all
I
right.
just cursed. And then, but it's because I was pushed forward because of the feet. So it's like it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Navigating that space is always, I feel like, the most difficult thing.
I can imagine. And also, like, I mean, it sounds like you're probably pointed up, which of course pushes your rig forward on top of everything. And
Yeah, it's like a Guitar Hero type
yeah,
shot,
yeah, sure.
and
Of course. No, I can see it. Yeah.
and even with the tilt stage set, you still need a little bit more,
Uh-huh.
because you don't want to overdo it. So, yeah, I just touched that speaker just enough.
When you're at the point where you are now, when you've been doing this live stuff long enough, when you're doing rehearsals, I mean, obviously rehearsals are sort of like, yeah, this is how it's going to go if everything works right. Are you sort of in the back of your mind going, these are all the things I need to be concerned about that may go wrong? Like you said, I'm here right now, but I know there are going to be feet here or whatever. Does your
Yeah,
mind
I
sort of
mean,
become like that?
well, I now, because I know how these things are shot,
Yeah.
before rehearsals even start, and I'm just walking the space, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, this is too tight, or this ain't, yeah, these steps are in the way.
Yep. Yep.
So, like we had it recently at the Tonys. um, Someone didn't measure something right, and the lane in front of one of the, like, this little coin stage in the front
Uh-huh.
was way too small. Then they had these speakers that were attached to the front of it that were sticking out, so we literally had maybe 18 inches.
Whoa.
um, and it was supposed to be a 4-foot lane.
Oh, wait, it was supposed to be 4 foot and you had 18 inches.
Yeah. Well, we had 2 feet, but then the speakers were bolted in the front of the stage, which pushed us out,
Yeah.
which gave up another 6 inches. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so somebody didn't measure something right.
Oh,
I don't know, and somebody didn't catch it. And I'm standing there with the other camera operators. I'm like, we're all looking at each other. We're looking at each other. We're looking at, and we're all saying the same thing with our eyes,
yeah.
And then finally somebody goes on headset and goes, "Hey, so I have a little problem
Yeah,
here."
right.
You
Right.
know?
Wow.
And the Tonys is a lot of, like, the handhelds are cabled, and then the Steadicams are wireless,
Okay.
but now you're crisscrossing cables because everybody has an assignment, when they're doing the nominee shots.
Uh-huh.
So somebody has to go to this aisle, somebody has to go to that aisle, and then you have to go that, and then once you have the thing, then you have to repo and go get somebody else for a reaction shot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and if you don't have the space, we're not even talking for a live shot, we're talking just repoing.
Yeah.
How are you going to cross each other? Now I have to wait for this guy to go by, and then I can go, and now there's no time
Oh,
to get the
because
shot.
if cable A is on top of cable B, then cable
Right.
B can't back up. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's like the
Yeah.
geometry of that is just mind-boggling.
Yep.
And like something like the Tonys, how many days of rehearsal do you have for that?
Let me check my calendar. I believe it was 4.
4? Okay. And so is a
One.
lot of
Oh
that?
no, we had three rehearsal days,
Uh-huh.
and then a dress rehearsal and full show on show day.
Oh, so you do the dress rehearsal and the show on the same day. Got
Yeah, so you're in the rig for 9 hours.
So is a lot of that rehearsal ahead of time figuring this stuff out of like, yeah, but I can't get over here now because you're here. So how do we backwards engineer this
Yeah,
kind of thing?
absolutely.
Whatever.
That's what the rehearsals are for.
Can't
And
even imagine how complicated that must be.
yeah,
um,
it's tough. I don't envy the handhelds at all because
yeah.
at least I have a place to put my notes on the side of the camera, you
Okay.
know. And I put it on the side of my camera with the iPad using scriptation, which is
Meaning
something that a
because
lot of people are using.
it's on the side of your camera, so you can glance at it while you're shooting. You're saying, whereas they've got it in their pocket or something like that.
Exactly. So it's
Um,
harder for them,
Whoa. That's
and you have to know who these people are. And if you're not like a Broadway person,
So this was my next question. How do
yeah,
you, yeah, like I would go in there and go, I don't know who any of these people are. I mean, is there someone in your ear telling you there are 3 seats in to the left or what?
no, what everybody has assigned seats,
Yeah.
and the aisles have letters. The rows are left 1 or right 1.
Okay.
So aisle C, left 1. That's the first row of
Okay.
aisle C, and it's on the left, and it's seat 1.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like that's how they do it. They have a great science to it. It works really well.
Sure.
During rehearsals, they have place cards with the names, with the name and the
Okay.
picture of the person, a
Oh.
colored picture of the person,
Oh,
and the seat number underneath. So something, I think it was Tori that gave me this tip. I went through the app. I have an app called Scriptation. I took
uh-huh.
a picture of the person that was my assignment,
Uh-huh.
and I put them in the spot on the rundown. The rundown is like the show and how it's broken down and all
Okay.
the acts and everything. And it
Yeah.
goes through timing, everything is on the rundown. So I would put the person's face in that spot, where I would have to get them on the rundown, and
Yeah.
then that would help me. You know,
Oh,
I'd
wow.
take a picture and put it there. So
Wow, but on the day when it's happening, you've got to know who that is and which person is which and where they're sitting because you've done that ahead of time, but still you got to remember all that, right?
yeah, and before the show, I'll go walk through the aisles, and when the show starts, nobody's in their seats, right? So
That's yeah.
so so really it doesn't work then, but in between segments, I'll look around, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully they're sitting down and they're not talking with somebody 5 rows down somewhere,
Yeah.
because everybody gets up out of their seats during commercial breaks, and then getting them to sit back down is a whole nother thing.
Oh,
But
wow. Okay. I hadn't thought about that.
but yeah, it can be
That's wild.
pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the award shows get boring? I mean, you're live and everything. There's a lot to do, but I mean, do they get sort of formulaic?
No.
Or they're always something interesting.
Oh, I mean, for us working, it's not boring.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's like go, go, go.
Yeah. There's probably not a single moment.
Yeah, unless, you're a camera that's like getting just a bump shot here and there. Everybody else that has assignments like the handhelds and the steady cams, and it's tough. And then you have the 2 pads in the back that are getting the the center shots of talent, walking up, not walking up on stage, but they get to stage and they start talking, right? You have those center shots. They have a hard job too, because they're at the back of the house, and you know your talent's moving around. You're constantly racking focus and following, and it's yeah. You have to be. You really have to pay attention so you don't get bored.
Okay, so this was my next question is you're pulling your own focus, right? And zooming at the same time?
Unfortunately, yeah. Well, the zooming, I would always want control of. The focus is. I mean, if I could hand that off, that'd be awesome. But
So you can't hand the zooming off?
no, I have to do it myself. That became a staple long before I started doing live broadcast. Unfortunately, things become industry standard because somebody does it, right? So then everybody expects it to be done that way, and then boom, that's it. Now this is what we've adopted.
Sure, but do you have then some sort of crazy high def monitor that you can see focus better than what I can see, or is it just that you get used to understanding whether it's in focus or not?
Well, It's how you also set the output on the camera so that you have your peaking and there's settings that will help you with that.
Yeah, sure. There are tools that you use,
Yeah.
but still, at the same time, when you're on stage and someone's doing a musical number and you're pushing in from 30 feet into 10 feet or whatever, you not only have to think about your frame, but you've got to be able to. It's just amazing to me.
There's also numbers. You can set it up so that there's numbers in the corners of your screen on the display, so you can see your focus numbers. Um, but if I have a shot that is it's been rehearsed, it's not something that just happens out of the blue. Um, I'll see where I need to stand, catch my focus, and make a mental note. I'll even write it down on my rundown if I can, and say, okay, at this point, she's 16 feet away, and I know I'll have my focus as long as she's not going to move because you know, the chair has a mark or her piano has a mark, and I'm not going to move because I know where my mark is on the ground because there's plenty of things that you can look for to mark yourself.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So that's sort of my little cheat to do it. But also, how the distance of your monitor to your eyes, right? So I try to bring my monitor as close as I can to my eyes. So uh, I measured it with. Actually, I was working with somebody, Dan Urbeck. We were working at this thing called the Robin Hood Gala, and we were talking about it. I'm like, so how far is your monitor from your, like we were talking about builds, and we have different rigs and everything, and we measured, and we both have our monitors about 18 inches from our eyes.
Oh wow, that's not far at all. Largely because of seeing focus. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I'm curious what other people do in the broadcast world, like if they actually sat down and measured.
The funny thing is, as you explain this, it's also logical and whatever, but it still just blows my mind. And I'm sure it's like anything else. I mean, look, someone who doesn't do Steadicam asking us, how do you walk backwards with the thing? It's like, well, I don't know, you do it. You just, you figure it out and, whatever. But it's still, it's amazing to me that you're able to do that. Are there, you had the Macy's Day Parade on there.
Oh, right.
First of all, it's thanks. I'm assuming this is the Thanksgiving, although there was the Christmas thing in there too at Rockefeller Center. I mean, first of all, it's got to be freezing, and I'm guessing raining sometime. And what are you walking with the parade for those kind of things, or what do you?
Oh no, there's two. I've done both positions.
Yeah.
There's one position that's downtown at the Star.
Okay.
First hour of the parade, if you're in this position, um, is musical numbers from Broadway shows, right? Because
Oh, okay.
if
Yeah.
you want to think about these things, like a parade is one long commercial, right? So the floats are commercials, the balloons are commercials, the performances are commercials, right? You're trying to get people to come to New York to watch a Broadway show.
Yep. Oh,
So
interesting.
so
Okay.
the first
Yep.
hour is Broadway numbers from new shows or maybe shows that have been for a while, like the Rockettes are always there.
Uh-huh.
And so Ron DeMarias has been directing it for a while, had directed it for a while. Now Joe DeMeo is directing it for a couple of years. And so you uh, sit down with the director and my memory was with Ron. I haven't done this position with Joe, but
Uh-huh.
you sit down with the director and you have a camera meeting and they go through the musical number and they script the shots. Um,
Okay.
when I was doing it, there was 9 cameras. So shot number 1 would be 10 to not confuse things.
Mm-hmm.
And you would script the shots, and that would be that position was scripted shots for musical numbers for the first hour, and then after that you're just picking up parade people, performers going by and floats and everything else, and then there are music performances on the floats, so those are scripted. Then there's the marching bands of the high schools; those are kind of scripted depending on like something specific they want to get.
Uh-huh.
Because somebody throws a baton at this point and somebody's doing this at that point, so it's scripted for the most part, and then in between you're shooting the parade going by, the other, and that's a 3-hour event, and
So are you in the rig for 3 hours without a break, basically?
commercial breaks.
Oh, there are commercial breaks in that. Okay, I don't
Yeah,
watch these
there's
things
commercial
usually.
breaks.
Okay, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, that first year working that parade was grueling because
I can I can't imagine actually.
it was they had a full camera pack, like a full like regular broadcast camera with the wireless um, package on it. So it's much heavier than your standard, you know, a P1 or a P50 with a wireless package. And by the end of those 3 hours, I was freaking exhausted. Like my
I
back
can't
was on
imagine.
fire.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the following year, they asked me back, and I told Ron, I reached out to Ron, like, hey, you think you could help me out with this?
I've
Because
got a career I have to keep up.
this makes
Yeah.
no sense. You
No,
know,
no,
like
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like they were being cheap, and nobody told them they could do a different way. I don't know what it was, but I said, I want to be as strong for you in that last hour as I am in the first.
By the way,
So
I'm so glad that you mentioned that because there are different ways to fight that battle, and that's the way to fight that battle, right? Is to say, look, I just want to do the work that you're asking me to do, and I can't if I don't, if I'm beat up. That's great, yeah.
yeah,
And so they got what you needed.
and he sent an email out, and oh, and this is a good story. One of the tech managers, I don't think Ron knew what he sent me because I was like forwarded emails back and forth. One of them said,
Mhm.
"Oh, the operator's a woman and she's asking for this,"
Oof.
and I was livid,
Yeah,
and
that's
I confronted that guy as soon as I saw him.
good for you.
Yeah, I was like, what? Do you not know that all the operators before me were complaining about the same exact thing, but I'm the only one that spoke up? So maybe next time, watch what you say." And he felt so stupid.
Good.
But
Good.
anyway,
Good for you,
so
though. Good for you. And by the way, the funny thing that I think of when you tell me that is, I don't know who the other operators were, but if they were guys, they might not want to speak up because they might not want to people to think they couldn't do it, so they just suffered. And you were the only one who's smart enough to say, "This is ridiculous. Let's do this a better way."
I don't know. I
Um,
think maybe I felt like I had a good enough rapport with the director that I could
yeah,
say
of course.
something.
Yeah, but that's great. I mean, that's good for you. That's fantastic. But I can't imagine, like, yeah, three. So, but something like the parade. I mean, you you're not you don't rehearse that, do you? Because they're not. I mean, the parade doesn't
Oh
exist.
yeah. No, oh, and
How
the
do you?
parade itself you don't rehearse, but
That's what I
the
mean. But how do
musical
you?
stuff you do rehearse.
Oh, okay, the musical stuff and the parade. I guess the parade is just they're walking or the
Yeah,
floats are going or
there's a
whatever. So
huge
they.
book with showing all the floats
I got you.
and
Yeah.
the balloons, and there are specific things you have to get at specific moments. Well, like I said, it's a big commercial, right? People are paying for that stuff to be there, and if you don't get it, then it's on the director. You need to get the Dodge emblem at this point. They're going by, like it's like that specific. Yeah, of the Dodge Ram that's going by, you have to, like it's so they have to work in specific shots because Dodge is paying for that. The other position is uptown where the parade starts, and they usually do a musical number that's pre-recorded that ties into the start of that ties into downtown where the star is in front of Macy's. So that position's like a much easier position. It's like 2 days. You rehearse it with the talent. Sometimes it's like a whole big to do where you're walking them out and you're doing. There's drones now, um, and and then they started to say, hey, you know what, we could really use that Steadicam downtown. So now after that, after a certain point, starting what it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they started doing it. Where that position now, you can't just go home once the parade leaves you.
Ha! We paid for you. We're going to use you.
Oh, we're gonna use you. We're moving you now. So now we hop into and I think last year, my study sis Zach actually drove the golf cart, and we drove through the parade and got in front of the parade. Not, I don't know if we got in front of it. Did we make it in front of it? But we got downtown so that we could further assist with actually shooting the parade.
That's great. I love it.
But that was fun. That part was fun. Is just like we're in the golf cart. It's like open road, and we're kind of in the parade, but we're not in the parade. Yeah, but it's like getting ahead of it and like loading the cases and bringing them downtown ahead of time so that I could break down downtown instead of going back uptown. It's like logistically figuring it all out.
Wow, just wow. And I mean, so I'm assuming you do the parade, multiple times, like every year or every other year, whenever you're available or whatever. Does it sort of become the same thing over and over, or are they always different?
It's pretty much the same. I know it's a very cynical way of describing something, but it's reality.
No, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just mean, at a certain point you get used to like, okay, now you're going to need this piece and that piece. And like you said, you're going to need the Dodge Ram emblem or whatever. It makes sense at that time. And I think that's sort of the way that you become successful at this probably, right? I would imagine is you just every year you make it a little better and you just realize you can repeat it over and
Yeah.
over and be successful at it.
Yeah, you create you set it up so that it's flawless every year, it's this is what we're doing.
So I started asking you about this before. I mean, do you have like a favorite live thing that you've done for whatever reason?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was SNL with Lin-Manuel Miranda years ago. He did a monologue. Um, that was really exciting, but I would say it's been surpassed by SNL's homecoming concert.
Wait, so hold on a second. I would not have expected you to say what was it about the Lin-Manuel Miranda monologue? Just what he was doing, or did you do something special for it?
No, honestly, it was just like
Being
a
there.
and not a walk and talk, but like he was rapping and I was walking him backwards through the hallways, and that was his monologue, and the monologue has a shtick
Yeah.
where you have to always there's three things that have to be involved in a moving monologue, meaning the camera is moving, right? Because usually a monologue is static on the stage, but SNL has this thing where you have to shoot um, the Can Girls. They have these two women dressed up like Can Girls, and then they have Abraham Lincoln, and then they have a llama.
I love that.
And you have to see these three things in the background
Okay.
of the moving monologue.
I gotcha. Okay.
Um, but I think what was exciting about it was that it was SNL.
Uh-huh.
It was my first time doing SNL.
Oh, okay. There you go. That makes sense.
It was, and it was pretty. I don't know. It was talk about an adrenaline rush. It was pretty awesome. And then what made it hard is that SNL does not use prompters. They use cue cards. So
Like physical cue cards?
yes,
Really?
yeah, that is something that Lorne Michaels will never change.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I had somebody behind me with cue cards while I was backpedaling, and
Wow.
which is why I had to adjust my framing and show more ceiling, looking up at him rather than being up and pointing down, because I had somebody behind me with cue cards.
Oh, because you had to clear the way for him to be able to see the cue cards.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Wow.
Yeah, you have to make compromises.
Sure.
Sometimes
Yeah.
based on
You're part of a system.
what's around you.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
you're working with other cameras, you might have to compromise your shot a little bit because you don't want to cross another camera that they're about to cut to.
Of course. So the other thing you mentioned was what was it? SNL, like a homecoming something or other?
Yeah, it was a homecoming concert at Radio City. It's they had their 50th anniversary show, and before that they had a 50th anniversary big concert at Radio City, and they had everybody was there, past performers, and then you had people in the audience. It was like being at the Oscars. That's how many famous people were in the audience.
That sounds very cool. So was it because of it was or what you were doing?
I think because of what it was and all the performances, and they brought back people they brought back Bill Murray. They brought back old-time SNL cast members to perform, and then past music performers to perform. So it was just like a really huge compilation of different things, different music.
It seems like you're kind of being part of history there, because we all grew up watching Saturday Night Live, and that right there must be pretty cool in and of itself.
Yeah, it was
must
pretty
be very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, and then Nirvana with Post Malone was like one of their first performances. So it was pretty epic.
One of the things that I wonder about, you get to work with a lot of big name talent, obviously, but in a different realm than we do. And I'm wondering, and for different amounts of time than we do, like, do you connect with these people at all, or is it just sort of like they come in and do their part and they leave and that's it? Because for some of these things, it seems like you rehearse a little bit and you do something and they go away, as opposed to being on a show for a long period of time with someone.
No, I don't think there's really for like one-off type things like award shows and stuff like that. You mean, or
Yeah,
where you're like
yeah,
on
or
set
any.
with somebody
Yeah.
famous and you've walked them in and that's it. They barely even notice you. Some rarely will notice me simply because I'm a woman doing a man's job. And as there obviously there's more of us now than there were before, but not many in the broadcast world.
Okay.
Not many that are like in your face like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So like you worked with on Ozark, you worked with Laura
Yeah.
Linney, right? She was just sitting in the audience and she like grabbed my arm and she's like, I think it's so great that you're doing this.
That's so great.
And I'm like, thank you. I think you're really great too. I love you. 'Cause she's an amazing
Oh, she's
actress.
incredible.
And I'm like, I was like, I had to go. I was like in the middle of a repo. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
I
wait a
couldn't.
minute. So this you're saying you're in an award show and you happen to be going from one position to another, and she just during the show came out and said, "I love the fact that there's a woman here doing this," and congrats.
No, she was sitting down in her
Yeah.
seat, and I guess I was getting a shot of a nominee that was near her.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
And as I'm kind of like walking to my next position, a repo,
Yeah.
she grabbed my arm and stopped me, and I looked at her. That's when she said it to
That's
me,
what a
and
great. That's wonderful.
it was really
Yeah.
sweet. And like Chuck Schumer is behind her. He's like, yeah, like he didn't really know what she was talking about, but and I'm like, and I wanted to talk to her more, but I couldn't because I think she's really great. And all I could get out was like, oh, I love you. You're great. Thank you so much. And then I left, like I wanted to be like, I wanted to tell him like, oh, there's more of us. We
Yeah.
exist, but like I couldn't sit there and talk to her. And
Oh, that's so
so it
fantastic. I
was,
love that story.
and then I think she talked to you and you're like, were you the person? Like, yeah, I was.
Oh, wow. No, I do remember this because I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we were on Ozark and she came back from it and said there was a woman doing Steadicam, and I think I emailed you and said, was that you? Yeah, I do remember this vaguely.
And then through you, I was like, please tell her there's more of
Yes.
us, because I didn't get to tell her.
I love that. That's a great story. I will yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Uh,
Yeah, it was kind of like a woman empowerment moment, like it was pretty neat.
it certainly sounds
Yeah.
like it. So pretty much everything you do is live, right? Do you do scripted at all?
No. I could count on probably 3 fingers. Yeah. It's just maybe 3 times that I've done scripted type stuff.
Oh, okay. So the three times that you've done it, I mean, and don't get me wrong here, but is it sort of boring? Because it just seems like compared to what you're used to, the adrenaline rush wouldn't be there. Like the moment that the light comes on and you know that you're live to everybody out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, I was filling in, I wasn't involved in it for months and months like somebody, like you are, so I don't think I would give it a fair but the one day I was there, yeah, I was bored.
Well, the reason I ask is just because the dramatic stuff, you want to get it every time, obviously, but if you don't get it, you get another shot at it. Whereas with the live stuff that I've done, there's just this pressure and adrenaline rush because you only got one
Yeah.
shot at it, right?
Yeah, you're done. You can't do it again.
And actually, as I'm saying this, it's occurred to me, it's like a high, right? Almost. Is there a wind down period after one of these shows? Like, does it take you a while to sort of come back down to earth after these things? Do you sort of get used to it? Has it just become normal?
You get used to it. And it's for shows like the award shows and these, like Christmas or Rockefeller or Macy's or any of these types of things. They're like marathons. It's not, you're not done in an hour. it's hours of content that you're shooting, and you're pretty tired by the end of it, mentally, and I would say more mentally than physically. And you just kind of like, oh, once it's done, it's just like a weight's been lifted. And you just kind of wait for the audience to leave and make some space, and then I pack up my gear. I don't rush to pack up my gear. I wait for people to clear out a little bit, because it's just too chaotic for me. I know some people rush and they pack up their gear, and I'm just like, I just need a moment.
Well, I
Yeah,
was going to say maybe that's like a built-in sort of that's a built-in
yeah,
cool down in a weird way.
maybe, yeah, yeah,
I could see that because yeah, and it's funny. It's interesting that you said that because I remember that very much. And when I've done Big Wonders, it's the same thing. It's like yeah, there's a physical exhaustion, but the mental exhaustion is almost more so because like you're just so firing on every cylinder, right? And especially when you're live, it must be even more so because and you're pulling your own focus and all these other things. Yeah, it must take its toll where you just have to sort of shut down for a little bit to to come back around.
yeah. I put on a new shirt.
Yep. Very smart. Very
Yeah.
smart.
And then I just kind of wait,
Yeah.
and then I have to deal with security when I try to leave. It's like a whole nother thing.
There you
Yeah,
go. Um, so your how old's your daughter now? She 4?
she's 4. Yeah,
And did you when you were pregnant, like did you work through pregnancy or did you I mean obviously at some point you stopped. But
yeah,
and then after the fact did it was it different when you came back because of, what you've been through having a child and whatnot? How does that affect you?
yeah. It was, it was kind of like uncharted waters as far as I knew. Um, I didn't know anybody personally that was a Steadicam operator that worked through pregnancy, or how long did you go for? Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
And I just asked my OB-GYN, I'm like, so can I work? And they're like, well, what do you do?
I was gonna
And,
say, did
and
you
I'm
bring the
sitting
rig
there,
in?
yeah, I'm trying to explain it. And they're like, well, as long as there's no weight like really bearing down. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh boy.
So I did something I wouldn't recommend. I worked
Uh-huh.
through my first trimester.
Wow. I mean,
Uh,
forget about the physical, like we're talking about weight bearing down, just, not feeling well and your body changing and everything. I can't imagine that.
I've never felt that kind of exhaustion in my life.
I can, yeah. Oh,
It was
wow.
it was hard. And I
Wow.
think the reason I did it is because I hadn't worked a lot. We had the summer off. I'm like, oh, I want to save up my money. I want to work, and then hopefully still collect the rental while I'm not working, because I can't
Uh-huh.
work for long.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so I did the first 3 months hoping that it would give me time to find somebody and that was willing to work with my rig.
This was on a specific show, you're saying?
This
A
was on
particular?
the Tamron Hall show.
Okay. Gotcha. All
Yeah,
right.
that's how it went.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember like exactly everything.
Yeah.
Uh, Timelines get mixed up.
Oh, yeah.
So I found somebody that was willing to work without a rig because he didn't own one anyway.
Okay.
And so I worked through the first trimester, and then collected the rental throughout the rest of my pregnancy. At least I
Okay.
had some sort of income, you
Yeah.
know.
Sure. Sure.
So I wouldn't recommend it. It's just too risky, knowing now, everything. Like I think I was just too ignorant and thinking I was, tougher and I could handle it and this and that. And, it's just not worth risking a miscarriage,
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I would tell any woman that's pregnant, just do something else.
Don't be a steady
Do
cam
do
operator.
regular camera,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's it. Don't
Yeah.
don't do the steady cam. It's not worth it.
Did you find that after you had so for how long did you take off until you came back to do Steadicam
Um,
after you had her?
After I had her, I think my first job back was 3 months after.
Okay.
Uh,
And did you find that there was I mean that well you've been out of it now for what 9 months almost or 8 months or something like that and you've been through a lot physically was there a change in how you wore the rig and how it the
well,
how it affected you?
I hadn't yes, I hadn't worn the rig in a long time, and
Yeah.
of course, the first job I pick up is like the monster of a camera.
Of
And,
course.
it's so dumb. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was, my hips changed, physically changed.
Well, that's why I asked because look,
And
having taken long periods of time off, just not wearing the rig is its own challenge to get back into it. But then you've had a physical, like literally a physical change.
yeah, and I ended up with like a blister on my hip
Oh my
because
God, really? Wow.
yeah, because my hips had changed so much and I hadn't worn the rig in so long.
Yeah.
I ended up with like a little blister on my hip. I eventually felt, I mean, I opened up the hips a little bit, um, but everything else was pretty much, the same. But yeah, my back was feeling it, and but then it kind of like it was like riding a bike, it just everything kind of came back, and then regular work kind of came back again, and get back into it. But and they were the first job. It was just kind of like a one-off thing. We were shooting an orchestra, and I talked to the guy, and I was like, I'm actually breastfeeding, so he provided a room and a space for me so I could do it in between, when it was during lunch, that's what I was doing. I was pumping, and it was pretty crazy. So
So, having nothing to do with this, I only because you're the only person I know who's like this. You happen to be married to a Steadicam operator who is someone who's been
yes.
on this show before, or on the podcast, Jerry. And I just have to ask: do you guys talk Steadicam at home, or like do you specifically not because that's what you do?
No, we do. We talk shop,
Oh, you do?
yeah. And for watching any kind of live broadcast and there's Steadicam involved and I see something and
This
he's
is my
like, I
next
didn't,
question. Are you
you
guys
know,
always like critiquing stuff, or not critiquing? That's not the right word, but commenting on things you see.
yeah, if we're watching a movie and like it was a Steadicam shot that was done really well, and we're like, wait, was that a oneer?
Oh,
Like
nice.
was that? And we'll go back and watch it again. Like that was really good,
Yeah,
like and we'll admire it together, and then sometimes we'll watch something like that was crap,
yeah.
and that could have been done better. Who knows what happened with that? Because you always try to be like, well, who knows what the situation was at the
Yeah.
time? You try to make up stories in your head. Maybe he had a better one, but that was better for talent. Like
I was just gonna say there's that
yeah,
thing that I always do, which is like I know the shows where I watch it and they go, oh, they used that take, so I always go to there, which is like I'm sure there was a better take.
yeah,
Someone
yeah.
like
Because you don't want to believe that
no,
there's that bad Steadicam out there.
no, it's exactly right. But that's pretty funny. And then the other thing I want to ask you about is you have you have a child, and how is that? How do you juggle all that, and how do you? I mean, has that changed the jobs you take and the way you
Well,
work and whatnot?
um, early on, I didn't want to travel and go away.
Hmm.
Not for very long, and I still hesitate sometimes if it's too long of a time.
Yeah,
But I'm lucky that I have a husband that's very present and supportive. And he's here with her if I have to do a long day or a long job. Every weekend it's that's specific daddy time, Fridays and Saturdays. He's with her the whole time, and so I think of everybody that's helped me. Peter helped me get started.
yep,
Without Peter, I don't know where I'd be.
yeah.
Um, but Jerry is, your spouse, whoever you're with, if you have a family, I mean, that's the person, that's your biggest support right there.
There's definitely,
So
for those of us who have kids in this business, there's no way we could do it without the other person picking up the slack, and then and then stepping in when you're not working, of course, right?
absolutely, yeah,
It's all a give and take of it. But I love the idea of you guys sitting and watching something and going, wait, rewind that.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's fantastic.
And he's I want to say like how long ago it was. I bought him a 3D printer a while ago,
Oh yeah,
and it was like a gift, and
yeah.
it it was sort of selfish on my part because like I wanted things and I knew he could make them. And I was like, I think you could do this, and I got it for him. And then, next thing you know, he's like making all these parts for me. And And he sort of made it like a little side business for himself, where he makes things for operators, in our business, and sometimes other things.
Actually,
And
what's his website? Give it a plug.
oh, good, Jerry
Is it just jerryholloway.com?
Hallway.com, I
Yeah,
think.
jerryholloway.com. I'll link to it as well. But he makes all
Yeah,
sorts of gadgets for the Volt and
yeah.
whatnot. And
And he
yeah,
picks my brain. He goes like, "Is there anything else that you might need, or what do you think of this?" And we talk about, we talk shop like that too. Not necessarily just like shots, but things that can improve Steadicam.
make it better. Yeah.
When he was working on the M2, helping design that, he would pick my brain for that too. Like, so we would talk back and forth. Like,
Uh-huh.
I think it's a mutual respect, which is great
That's
because
great.
he's been at it for a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
makes me feel like maybe I actually know a little something if he asks me a question.
I think it's pretty safe to say that you do. There's also this thing where I'm sure he feels this way. I've been doing this as long as Jerry has, but I've been doing this for 35 years, which is certainly enough. And I think you get stuck in your ways, right? Like you go, nah, I've always kind of done it this way, and this is the way I do it, so just don't mess with it. And then it takes someone who has a new perspective on it to come along and look at you and go, why aren't you doing it this way? Or why aren't you doing it that way? Why are you doing that? And suddenly you look at it and you say, I don't know. I've always been done it this way. Maybe there is a better way to
Yeah.
do it. It's sometimes you have to step outside of yourselves, so I think that there's probably a lot of value in that, I would guess. Well, listen, this has been really fantastic. I want to thank you for sharing all this. I still can't get my head around how these things that you're a part of, because, like I said, I've done some live stuff and I found it to be it was exhausting and overwhelming and amazing, but I don't know that I could do it all the time. So more power to you. It's really incredible work you've done and continue to do.
Oh, thanks. I think like anything, you fall into something and then you adjust, and
Well, for
you know,
falling into something and adjusting, you make it look very, very easy, and that alone is kudos to you for that. So I'm going to leave you with a question I leave everybody with, and I'll let you take us out with it. Advice for someone getting into the business today on how to succeed, or maybe what you wish you knew back then that you know now that would have helped you.
I would say, and this, I actually say this as part of my lecture. So some people listening be like, yeah, okay, yeah, she said that already. But um, I would say don't sell yourself as something you're not. That's the first advice I could think of right now. Or the one that there's other things I could say, but I think that's the one that really stands out to me the most, because I think a lot of times um, newer operators will try to act like they know everything, or, oh yeah, I belong here on set, or like I've done this before, when really they're probably scared shitless, but they don't want to admit that they don't know something because they're afraid people aren't gonna respect them or help them, or uh, I I think it's worse if you act like you know more than you do, because the people that you're working with are far smarter than that, and they'll see right through it.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We'll be back soon with another great episode. Don't forget to check us out on theop.io for all sorts of information on operating and storytelling. So thanks for listening and have a great day.